Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attendance at short notice for this morning's press conference. Introducing the top table, Leeds Rhinos Director of Rugby, Kevin Sinfield, and the new head coach of Leeds Rhinos, Richard Agar. Richard has got training today, for Friday's game against Warrington Wolves in the Betfred Super League, so we can have any general questions to the top table, that will help, and then if we have time at the end, we'll do one-to-one interviews after that. Thank you. Any questions?
Congratulations, Richard.
Thanks, James.
How's
Thank
it
you very
feel?
much. Yeah, I'm excited. At the same time, you know, I know the size of the job and the task in front of us. I think being able to, I guess, steer the ship over these last few months has given me, you know, probably an advantage coming into it, but also, you know, a good idea of what's in front, what we need to do to get better, and you know, the responsibility that this job brings.
At what point did you realise you wanted the job on a full-time basis?
Probably last Monday when we spoke about it. No, we spoke, you know, we've had dialogue throughout this time, but really we spoke maybe a month ago. We'd sort of agreed that we would not get to the end of August. And, you know, I would have the understanding with Kevin that behind the scenes, if they wanted to go out and, you know, see what we're on the market, well, that will fine by me too. But you know, we've had a fairly good feeling internally, and about 4 weeks ago we spoke, and you know, I just at the time didn't want any distractions around the team coming into that period or around myself. But we said as soon as we get the relegation issue sorted, we'd have a chat then. But sort of back then I was sort of feeling that, you know what, I think, you know, we're in a good spot. We know what's to be done, and if it were right for them, but right for me too, then you know, we'd have some serious talks about it. And obviously we got the job done at London, and sort of 3 or 4 days last week we met up, and you know, pretty easy one to do.
And what appeals to you most about this particular role?
Well, I'll be honest. You know, I think, you know, I've worked in the game all my life and sort of worked hard. So I think to get an opportunity like this, you know, the previous 2 head coaches jobs I took, I think the clubs or the rosters were in really poor states, and it were a real job of trying to turn it round. Where I think, you know, a club of this size, opportunities don't come around that often, if at all, in your career. You know, obviously being a Yorkshireman myself, knowing the size of the club, but I think it's in a good spot. I know it's been a difficult couple of years. But I do think, you know, the turnaround and to get it going a lot better, you know, should be really doable. So I thought it were, you know, real good opportunity, and the fact that I've got good relations with the people within the club, and the support, I think, above me and sort of from the playing group that I've received, that certainly played a big part in my decision. You know, were definitely the players really.
Kevin, did you speak to anyone else?
Yes. I think it was important we got the right person for the job. Richard knew all throughout that process. We've had from when Richard joined the club back in January, we started a pretty good relationship then. And that honesty has been really important between the 2 of us. I think what really stood out for me is we worked really well together. Richard had a real good view of where we were at, and right from the start of this year, this is before he was made interim, but his understanding and his appreciation of where the squad's at, where the team's at, what we need to do, what we're trying to build over this next couple of years has been really, really important, and he's the right person for the job. And within that, you speak to the staff, you speak to our players, my own gut feel, but I think even when you look at what's out there, he was a standout candidate, and absolutely delighted that, you know, he accepts it and wanted to take this on. It is a big job, we all know that, and I think we're very fortunate to be able to secure somebody who's got that much experience, who's smart, who's coached internationally, who gets it and actually understands exactly where our players are at, and understands where our squad is, and it is a big job. We all realise that, you know, to be in the bottom four throughout the last 4 seasons is not where this club needs to be or should be, and between us we'll do our very best to get back where we need to be.
Can you give us any detail about the assistants and support staff, whether that might change at all?
Some of it we're still working through. So no, at this moment in time, if we're being honest, I think that'd only be fair. You know, I think Richard has worked really well with the staff we've got in place at this moment in time, but there may be 1 or 2 changes along the way.
Too early, really. You know, as I say, we picked up our talks last Monday. Didn't get them concluded because of the game on Friday, so it's all come around pretty quickly. We'll be looking at everything and trying to put in place what's best for the organisation moving forward. But I think it's probably important to stress too, James, that we don't need to rush into them decisions. I think we can take you know, a good look at as operation, the structure of it, and work out what we think is the best fit, again, for the players and for myself moving forward.
And just finally from me, when you started out on that coaching ladder, at the, you know, you worked your way up, back then could you have imagined sitting here wearing that badge?
Probably 12 months ago I couldn't have done. You know, it's funny the way things work out. You know, when I was thinking about the job and taking it, I did look at a couple of, you know, good Yorkshire coaches, as in Darryl Powell and Brian McDermott, and, you know, different coaches and different people, but how they came into the job, you know, probably on circumstances, you know, not the normal circumstances really. You know, Brian took over at short notice from Bluey, and Darryl came in on the back of the club parting ways with Dean Lance. So, you know, I think I could draw some similarities from those experiences. You know, I think both guys, you know, at the time probably a little bit unexpected, but went on to do marvellous jobs. And, you know, if I can aim up, you know, half as much as what those two guys did, you know, I know they've done a good job. And sometimes, you know, opportunity, it comes about in different ways. You know, it's come about in adversity this time, but, you know, I feel I'm equipped to take that opportunity.
Fair to say that you've enjoyed it more than you thought you would?
I think that's one factor in it too, Ian, in terms of enjoyment. You know, I felt genuinely relaxed. I know Leeds have been the story this year. You know, the possibility of Leeds getting relegated and being down the bottom of the league. So whether I'm at a different point in my life or my career, or having 3-4 years out of head coaching, the experiences I've had in that time I think have helped. You know, being at Warrington, working with Smithy, being at a big club where, you know, we had some success one year and you know, not so good year after. My time working in the NRL around some, you know, some great football minds. You know, I know there's been a lot of talk and noise out there around Leeds' position, but I have felt pretty comfortable in the role, you know, and I guess stuck to my own beliefs and guns on what we needed to do, and, you know, I've got a realisation of where we're at. You know, I'm not here saying, you know, we've turned it around to an extent that we're going to be challenging for honours next year. There's still a lot of hard work to be done, but we know where we're at. But I think we've got a good base to build off in terms of the squad, what we've got currently, in terms of the young players, and of course everything that comes with coaching Leeds, which is, you know, unbelievable facilities, great support, great support at board level, great corporate support, and of course the fans that have been, you know, pretty amazing on this, you know, on this difficult period really.
Still very early, but have you got an idea of how you need to strengthen the squad for next year?
I think first thing I will say is, you know, I'm quite happy with the squad. I think there's plenty of improvements left from where we're at. You know, some of the improvements in our team are really abundantly clear. You know, after watching Friday and the way we've come in close again, sort of Wigan and Hull, you know, there's parts of our game that, you know, it's crystal clear where we need to be better. I think some of that can be done in a bit of an off-season fix-up. What I will say is, you know, coming in 14 rounds in is not an ideal situation to, you know, to go back to scratch when at the time I felt, you know, after the first couple of weeks, we needed to work on ourselves as much as we needed to work on the football side of things, and by that I mean bringing the group together, understanding effort, team spirit is a big one, but I think we've got all that covered off pretty well now. But I think a pre-season, working on some of those areas and some detail and some discipline in there, it'll be great for this squad, and I think our young players will also benefit from that. So if the squad doesn't change, I'm pretty confident we can move it forward. But as always, I think Kevin will be busy behind the scenes, and like every other club, if we can strengthen our squad personnel-wise within the salary cap, then we'll look to do it. But you're going to ask me for names and positions now. I can't give you that at this moment in time. We're busy working away, and a lot of that will be dictated to by our salary cap position and who's on contract and who's off contract.
Richard, in terms of that Bradford game, that was probably rock bottom of the season. That was your first game.
Thanks.
How big a turnaround has it been, and have you got the players playing for you, do you feel, given the run of wins that you've had during your time?
I think the players, the phrase I'd use is the players are playing for each other. They definitely are. There's no doubt about that when you watch the performances. I think for a while we've had some days where we've been off colour and got some things wrong, they're definitely playing for each other. The Bradford game, probably one of the darkest days in the club's history, and I am making light of that, but I think that's just where we were at the time. That's where the squad were at. It had a very difficult week, with the departure of Dave. People handled it in different ways, and it was a little bit of a perfect storm for us. The week after we played Castleford, I felt we had a good week. I thought the boys tried really hard, but we got absolutely smoked in that game, and it were at that point really that we said we're going to have to take some real step backs here, try and simplify things, and really focus and concentrate on some, I guess, effort areas, and working on some bits in rugby league that have been the same for 100 years, effort and commitment to each other. We've gradually tried to, I guess, work on parts of our defence, our try-line defence in particular, which I think has certainly improved during the course of the year, but there's still plenty of detail and things in attack where our execution at times and consistency in that has not been good enough. It's been good enough from time to time, but to get over the top teams, it needs to be better. But again, I'm confident that we can, drastically improve that moving forward.
You've got two marquee signings in Hurrell and Marin who've been massive for you this season, and that's something to build on.
Yeah,
build the squad around next season.
Well, I think Conrad's obviously, big crowd favourite, and that's because every time he touches the ball, he lights them up, and he's such a powerhouse. He's given us so much on that left edge. But Trent Marin in particular probably come in for special praise from me, in that he had some a very difficult start to his time here. Obviously it's a different competition, but it's probably well documented. Trent's had some really difficult family issues to deal with away from the game. And in all that time, he became the captain of the club as well. So if ever you wanted a guy by the side of you in the trenches, he's been here. He's never let anything affect his professionalism, affect his form. His reaction to the captaincy and the way he's led from the front has been, magnificent. So I couldn't speak highly enough of what Trent's contributed to us this year.
Any further questions? Thank you, Rich. Thank you.